Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and so happy that you're joining us today for what promises to be another great show. You know, as you know, I love politics very much, and whenever I can have somebody in that is in politics, that is running for office here in the state of Nevada, I like to take advantage of it. This is a very, very interesting gentleman with a very, very interesting background, and he also happens to play golf, by the way, so he's more than qualified to come on the show. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I think you're going to be in for a treat. You know, we've got a lot of races going on, as do a lot of states here. We have the gubernatorial race, we have the senatorial races, we have local races here in Clark County, all very important. Why? Because it affects your life, it affects my life, and you know, we've got to make sure that we vet candidates, we vote for the best person that we think is going to be able to help us and do the job for everybody. And so that's why I like having these people on, and you're going to enjoy this gentleman. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest today before we bring him on camera. Bill served in both the Army and the Air Force. I guess he liked military food, who knows? And Bill is a disabled combat veteran of the Persian Gulf War and Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield as well. He was also an Air Force liaison to the Defense Intelligence Agency. After his military service, Bill pursued a career in healthcare and is currently a vice president with a very prestigious Mayo Clinic. Bill is a through and through Republican and is running to be elected as our next United States Senator, and says he will devote his energy to securing and improving the lives of not only Nevadans, but of all Americans. So right now, it's my pleasure to bring him up and welcome Bill Hockstedler onto the show. And thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for having me.
I know you could have been out playing golf, but you decided to pay us a visit. I'm glad.
We'll play golf tomorrow up at Mountain Falls.
He's playing golf tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tomorrow as well. Let me start off and ask you, Bill, why did you want to become involved in politics in the first place? And secondly, why should the people of Nevada hire you?
Sure. Well, the reason I decided was the fact that we've lost our compass, if you will, our morality and our basically our civility and decorum that we used to have in our churches, our schools, our homes, and even in our politics has dissolved down to the fact that there's a lot of name-calling and finger-pointing. Yeah. And we're actually sending people to Washington right now that are getting less things done. They're creating more problems than they're solving, and we need to reverse that. And I grew up at a time when civility and decorum was actually a part of our everyday life.
Right.
And I'd like to see us get back to that.
Right.
And now we've had problems. You know, if you look at society right now, even like think about the shooting in Texas recently, or up in Buffalo. Yeah. You know, our children have gotten away from us in a way that we can't groom them to be the adults that people from our generation were. You know, people in our generation don't do the things that you see happening.
Correct.
And I really wanted to get us back to that. So I decided a long time ago, even before the last election. So don't get me wrong. My choice has nothing to do with the election. It has to do with the choice that we need to make things better. And I've had a good life. I've lived my life well. I'm in my 60s, and I've actually and being old doesn't necessarily make you qualified. But if you live a good life, like you've explained in your intro, and the things that I've done and what I've accomplished, I want to give back a little bit more to society.
Yeah. No, that is great. And let me just ask you this off the cuff. You mentioned education, of course, very important to everybody. It's a well-known fact that we have problems here in Nevada, particularly southern Nevada, particularly Clark County, with our education system, with what's going on. How can a U.S. Senator representing the entire state help our educational system?
Well, there's several different ways. The one way to start is actually to take care of giving the rights back to the states and make states and local officials more responsible for the school systems, and take away that power that the federal government has with the dollars that they give. We don't necessarily need a Department of Education anymore. I think that these departments can outgrow their usefulness, and we need to maybe look at cutting back that department or getting rid of it completely. So to the effect that we can put the power back to the states and to the local officials to affect the education in their state, I think that's a better way to go.
What's your personal view, Bill? There's been a lot of chatter, as you know, going on with different people about breaking up the school district here in Clark County because it's so large. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's a good thing. And again, you have certain areas that do better than others, and so why drag everybody down to the same common denominator? So you take places like North Las Vegas as an example. I think they have some pretty good statistics there. I think they've achieved quite a bit. But if there's another area of the county, and I don't know the particulars of the locals, but if you think about the fact that they draw down the average to a lower common denominator,
right,
that hurts those that are succeeding. So
right.
let's let those areas that know how to succeed do what they do. And maybe some of that will bleed off onto the others and let them bring themselves up to the standards that their neighbors are doing.
Right. No, I agree. That's well said. What do you see is the one or the two biggest problems facing Nevada right now?
Well, the problems that are facing Nevada are also facing the nation. Now, as a U.S. Senator, we don't necessarily fix everything that's going on in Nevada. I'm a representative for everybody in Nevada. So if you're a Nevada citizen, and no matter if you're Democrat, Republican, black, white, gay, straight, or whatever your differences are, whether it's religious differences or others, everybody in Nevada gets representation.
Right.
So as a U.S. Senator, we have to do the things that make this country great. And we have to take care of certain issues that are tearing our country apart. We're a divided nation. And there's a lot of things that separate us. And the outside looking in have a big part of that. If you look at what China's doing, what Russia's doing, they're trying to destroy America from the outside. So my goal is to make sure that we fix America so that Nevada and all the other 49 states can be successful. And we do that by a couple of issues that I want to take care of. We want to make sure that our economic dominance is number one, that we have that superiority in the world. And the reason for that is because America is looked to as the moral standard of the world. So anything that goes wrong, whether it's a military conflict, a natural disaster, or anything else that happens, people always look to America. What can America do? What would America do if they were making this decision? And they use that as a compass. So we want to make sure we maintain that superiority. Along with economic superiority comes responsibilities. We want to make sure that we have a strong military.
Right.
And we always want to be able to exert that dominance, not necessarily use force. We're not out trying to start wars or kill people. We want to make sure that America is strong and that no nation will do unwarranted aggression against a sovereign nation without knowing that America is there to help if needed.
Absolutely. No, absolutely correct. If elected to the Senate, what are your eventual goals?
Well, my eventual goals really have nothing to do with me personally, other than the fact that I want to make sure that we make this country a better place. I want to make sure that we always have the items that I talked about, our economic superiority, our military superiority, and once achieving those, we can do all the other social programs that we want. You know, there's this America First agenda.
Right.
And I do believe in that. And I know that we have problems at the border, and we can talk about that later. You can ask me any specific question on that. We have homelessness. We have people starving. We have economic disparity between our people.
Right.
And it all goes back to education and opportunities. And we can get all of that back, but we have to secure our country's place in the world. And I think that's what a strong senator can do, is to make sure that we secure that place.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. What would you say, Bill, because obviously you know a lot of people, you're out campaigning, you meet Democrats, you meet independents, you meet whatever. What's the biggest difference between a Republican and a Democrat in your view?
You know, if you take out the exceptions of the extreme left and the extreme right, the extremists on either end, we actually have more in common than we actually have differences. We actually have a lot more in common. And I think it's just a matter of basic philosophies where the Democrats can tend to be a little bit more liberal in social programs. Republicans can be a little bit more staunch in their, the constitutional rights and all the different amendments. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those, but we have to work together. We have to have a blend. And pandering to the media for their attention, just because we're an extremist, trying to be on the headlines, is not the right way to go, left or right. I think that we really need to come together in the middle.
They're totally. I find it interesting, Bill, that Nevada has been represented by 14 Democratic and 14 Republican senators. Harry Reid, of course, being the senator that has served the longest. What do you read into that, if anything?
Probably nothing. You're talking about an equal representation. Let's just take it down to where we are
Let
today.
me ask you. Okay, let me cut you off right now. Then, given that, what do you bring to the table that's going to separate you from Catherine Cortez Mastro and Jackie Rosen?
Sure. So what we have right now,
two Democratic people in D.C. right now.
Right, and I'm sure they're very nice people, but here's the thing, is that there's a segment of Nevada that is more Republican-minded, and they actually have more conservative viewpoints, but not being represented. So we have two Democrat senators. Why not have one Republican senator and one Democrat senator? And I'm not saying that Republican senator has to just represent the rules. We have people in Reno and Las Vegas that are Republicans, and they need representation as well. So it's not city versus rural. It's just that let's get a few more Republicans in place. Now, we have a lot of Democrats in place right now. We only have one Republican senator. Mm-hmm. We have 3 Democrat senators. We have, congressmen, and we have 2 Democrat senators and a Democrat governor. Let's even the playing field a little bit with normal people that aren't extremists. And I think I fit that boat. Yeah. I think 70% of the people in Nevada will understand who I am and why I'm running and what I think I can do for this country.
How did the rural areas in Nevada, northern Nevada, seem to tend to be more Republican, I think, than down here in Clark County? Why do you think that came to be?
Well,
how did that come to be?
If you look at our roots in general, you think about being more agriculturally oriented, more rural. Mm-hmm. Those tend to be more Republican people, conservative people, and of course the northern part is more rural, with the exception of the city of Reno and the surrounding areas right there in Washoe County. They are an agricultural, ranching, mining type of environment, and salt of the earth, good people that just happen to be Republicans. So I don't think it really is a true distinction. It's just that we have a mixed economy and a mixed variety of people in the state. And I think that takes a mixed variety of politicians.
Do you think maybe it's because there's some big-time businesses down here in Clark County in southern Nevada, casino people and so on and so forth, and because of that they tend to be Democratic?
Well, I think there might be something to that. We have this large entertainment, the casinos, the culinary unions and things of that nature, which tend to be more Democratic. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. I want people to understand that we can have a blended society, mm-hmm. a blended political atmosphere that I think will benefit everybody.
Yeah. Before we take our first short break and come back with you, how closely does a United States senator, Republican and or Democrat, work with the governor of the state, with the governor of Nevada?
I think there's a lot of synergy and cooperation between those two offices. I know that governors always want the best things for their state.
Of course.
But they also are intelligent enough to know that their state is a puzzle that fits into the overall situation with neighboring states, regions. You talk about water, look at the compact we have for water with mm-hmm. Utah, Arizona, mm-hmm. California. We have to get along, and we have to be able to share ideas. And whoever the governor is, whether it's a Democrat governor that we currently have or we get a new Republican governor, I want to make sure that I work with that governor so that we can elevate everybody in the state as much as we can. Mm-hmm. Whatever I can do, whatever he or she can do, needs to be the situation that we can accomplish more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll tell you what, stick around. We're going to take a short break. We come back, we're going to have a lot more with our special guest, Bill Hockstedler, candidate for United States Senate. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to Tea Time Fitness with Janice. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton, and today let's get an exercise for your shoulders. Grab your driver, go up overhead. You're going to go with your arms behind your head, bending one of your elbows. Now I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together and really stretch out that chest and shoulder area. Make sure you do both sides. Now you're going to want to repeat this about 3 to 5 times on each side. To add into that same exercise, you can put your arms up overhead, go behind. If you have to bend your elbows, that's fine. You're going to take a wider stance, bend over, and then just gently go side to side with your arms. and do what feels comfortable. You do not want to be in any kind of pain when you do that, but that will help with shoulder mobility and stability as well. So check out jtfitnessandgolf.com for more ideas like this.
We all know that just about everything today is getting more expensive, and golf is no exception. Well, I'm here to tell you about one golf company that is designed to save you money. That's right, I said save money. Welcome to breakfastballs.golf, a company that sells the best used golf balls in like new condition at a fraction of the price you'd pay anywhere else. Breakfastballs.golf carries all the popular brands of balls, from Pro Vs to Callaway to TaylorMade to Top Flight and many, many more. They even will ship you colored golf balls if that's your choice. They offer a great membership program as well, where members receive free shipping all of the time, plus great discounts. Save money and time. Go to breakfastballs.golf and check them out. So why not give yourself a breakfast ball on every tee, not just the first? Go to breakfastballs.golf and save money. If you're an avid golfer like I am, how great would it be living on a golf course? It's fantastic, but you're probably thinking golf course property is just too expensive. Well, I'm here to tell you that the folks at RWM Home Loans here in Las Vegas can make it happen. RWM Home Loans in Las Vegas will access a wide variety of ways to customize a loan to help you get into that golf course property, or anywhere else for that matter. They offer first-time home buyer programs, jumbo loans up to $5 million, and even reverse mortgages. So do yourself a favor and call Casey Zari right here in Las Vegas at 702-888-2251. Get started on that new home or property. That's 702-888-2251, or just go to rwmhomeloans.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, to more of the 19th Hole podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a very informative, interesting conversation with Bill Hockstedler, who is running for United States Senate here in Nevada on the Republican side. Bill, tell our viewers, if you would, both your strong points and maybe some weak points, if you think you have some, that you might have as a U.S. Senator.
Sure. Let's start with the weak points.
Okay.
Those are always bothering me, and I want to make sure that we understand those first.
Okay. I can think of one right off the bat.
Well, what is it? Go ahead.
That your golf game could be a hell of a lot better. But
oh yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
We'll get to that later.
That's the only one that I can think of. Yeah.
I always struggle with organization. I don't want to say that I'm ADD, but organizational skills, keeping up with appointments and schedules, and using these electronic schedulers just drives me nuts. I'm an old-fashioned paper kind of guy, and I'm the guy that's going to pull out the paper, look on the calendar, and mark an event on paper. If I don't do it, I'm going to miss it. And so my organizational skills with technology are very, very insufficient. And I need a team of people to kind of keep me on task, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I almost forgot to come down there and see you today. So
I would not have let you forgot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that is a very weak point for me, and I definitely need certain people that can do those types of skills for me. But as far as good points, I seem to be a strategic and long-term thinker. I'm thinking about issues that have gotten our country to where we are today and how to get out of those situations. And we've talked about a few of those ideas. And so that's where I believe that I shine, is my ability to kind of forecast. Not that I'm a psychic, but I'm just thinking, where's this country going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and what do we need to do to get back on track?
Right.
And that's my strong point.
Yeah, and you have to think ahead.
And I also have a very strong work ethic. You know, I've always taught my children. My children, by the way, are older than the folks in this race against me, and I've always taught my children the value of working hard, a work ethic, if you will, productive capacity. Our productive capacity for the younger generation is not what it used to be. You know, guys like us, we probably worked 2 or 3 jobs at one point when we're raising our families and whatnot. I've got 3 kids, and I had to double up sometimes to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And that's another issue that we need to solve. There's no need for this country to have double or triple earnings just to make ends meet. back in my day, and maybe yours as well, my father was the only person in the family that had a job and earned a living.
Right.
And we made it on that. We were very solid middle class.
Right.
But my mom didn't have to go to work. She could raise us boys however they see fit. And now you see latchkey kids, 2 and 3 jobs per parent. If, and God forbid, you're a single parent, you have to work more than that, and you never see your family just to pay their rent and now just to pay gasoline and groceries.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's becoming harder and harder and harder, unfortunately, for people, and we've got to do something about that, folks. How would you go about, Bill, persuading, once you get in the Senate, persuading somebody to see things your way?
Well, you only have to look at somebody's track record and their success and where they are in life to notice that if they're doing things right, when I say success, I'm not a multimillionaire, I'm not a millionaire. If you're measuring on money, that's not a measurement that can be used on me. I'm a very regular guy. I live in a 4-bedroom house in Nye County, which is less expensive than Clark County. I drive a pickup truck, I have a couple of motorcycles, and I just lead an average life. But I'm still successful in what I've done. And if people look at that and say, why is he successful? What has he done? Should we listen to his ideas? I think that can rub off on people. And I don't care if you're in Congress or the Senate, the House or the Senate, either one. I think that my leadership and my style can rub off on some people, and they can actually look at what I've done and figure out that there are better ways. We don't need to be extremists, as we talked about earlier.
That's true. Let's talk about extremists. You brought up an interesting point early. There are extremes on both sides of the fence, so to speak, whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican. When do you consider somebody to be extreme, Bill? Depending on with both parties.
Okay, I can almost say this with pretty much certainty, that if you end up on one of the entertainment channels rather than an actual news channel, a lot of the time, if you end up on Fox or CNN, which I consider them to be more entertainment-oriented rather than actual hardcore news, if you're that guy that's once a week on one of those channels, you're probably an extremist. And so we need people to focus on what the actual facts are and debunk some of the stuff that the entertainment channels are putting out. So you'll never see me on Fox News. I guarantee you'll never, and maybe if I'm elected you will, but you're never going to see me on Fox News. I did not clamor to be on Fox News or CNN during this election cycle. And I want to appeal to the people that don't watch those channels 24/7. I think that's the extremist points of view. Okay. And those 2 entertainment channels have actually contributed to what we have as extremism. I think that we didn't have those when I was growing up. CNN came out in, 1983?
Something like that. It's been around for a while.
I was already a family man raising children and everything at that point. So, and in the military. I joined the military during the Jimmy Carter administration, if I didn't mention that earlier. So I go way back a little bit. So anyway, we need to cut the extremism.
Yeah.
We really do.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. Would you prefer a written or a verbal communication as a U.S. Senator, and why?
Well, I think written is always good because you always want that to be the record. But I want to be approachable too. So if you're talking about being approachable to the citizens, I think there's a way for me to come back and make sure that I always interact with the people of Nevada, whatever forum that we need to do. And I speak okay. I think I'm a good speaker. I think I can articulate what we need to do and get that out to the people and then take their responses back as well.
Yeah.
I want to listen to people. I want to listen more than I actually speak. And I think that's very important for people to understand.
Yeah, I do too. Do you think that our current elected officials, let's talk about our current gals, U.S. senators, do you think they travel the state enough? Do you think they talk to people all through the state enough? Or should there be more? I
think they talk to the people a lot during an election cycle. Right before, you've seen a lot of ads come out on TV, things of that nature. There's a lot more exposure for those folks while there's an actual campaign going on. And they obviously want to elevate themselves to the media and make sure that people are aware that they're doing things and passing legislation. And the media does a pretty good job of making sure that they get time. I will say that the media doesn't focus a lot on the people that are the underdogs. If you haven't raised over $1 million, the media barely pays attention to you.
Yeah.
And they think that that's a measuring stick, that's a scorecard that can be used to determine who the next candidate that's going to win the office. And I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
And thank God for programs like yours where a guy like me can be exposed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I know a lot of the candidates. I've talked to a few people, have had them on that are running for lieutenant governor, and both of them have said they think it's a very important part of being a lieutenant governor to really travel the state to help out the governor, hear what people want, hear their concerns, talk about issues, and I think all of our elected officials should do that.
Yes, I do believe so. Now, I've traveled the state extensively, and usually just by driving. I don't have the money to fly back and forth to Reno, and there's other places to go besides
Right.
Reno. So I've put many, many miles on my vehicle traveling the state. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah.
I love just the opportunity to sit there and drive for miles and see the vast beauty that we have in this state, and be thinking while I'm driving and stuff like that, and wonder about if I'm in the next town I go to, if it's Fernley or Hawthorne
Right.
or whatever it might be, thinking about who I'm going to meet and how I'm going to talk with the people that are in the small towns as well.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the vastness of our state, and I think it's a beautiful state to travel.
Oh, it is a beautiful state. That's why we encourage everybody to come here.
Then I'll make sure that I travel extensively, even as a U.S. Senator. I know a lot of my time will be in Washington, D.C., but I'll also be spending a lot of time in Nevada.
Are you going to travel with or without your golf clubs?
Without. I'm not that great a golfer. I don't need the extra weight in the car with gasoline prices like they are.
All right, last question before we take our other break. As a U.S. Senator, do you think it's more important to be a good listener or a good communicator?
Trick question, both. You have to be able to listen to what
That was a trick question. Very perceptive, Bill.
You have to listen
Yeah.
to the people and what they want to have happen and how we're going to guide this country. And then you have to be a good, I think you said speaker or communicator, and that's where we take things back to the floor. You know, we're in there with our colleagues, and I want to lead with our colleagues in the Senate and Congress, and I want to be a representative for the people. So again, I'm not going to be a leader of anybody in Nevada. People think that they're a politician, they're a leader.
Right.
They're not a leader of the people. That implies that we have domain over you. And I do not have domain over you or anybody else in the state. I'm your representative, and I'm hired to do the job of representing you equally.
Right.
I lead with my actions with my peers in Washington, D.C., and we try to guide people into making rational decisions that are good for all Americans. And that's where communications comes
Yeah,
in.
no, totally. No, that's I agree. That's well said. All right, stick around. We got more with Bill Hockstedler coming up right after these commercials. Be right back. Fabulous Freddy's is having a spectacular coupon book sale going on right now. Their sale price on coupon books for either full service or exterior only is fabulous. You can purchase a coupon book where you buy 7 and get 3 free, or you can purchase 4 and get 1 free. Head over to the Fabulous Freddy's on the southwest corner of Charleston and Fort Apache and check it out. Your car will love you for it.
Experience a salon like no other. Charm Beauty Lounge specializes in hair, skin, and a non-surgical, painless way to fuller hair, designed to boost hair volume up to 400% without glue or solvents. Make your appointment today. Call 702-201-1655.
Hey, beautiful, come on in. Charm Beauty Lounge. Charm Beauty Lounge.
Welcome back, everybody, to more of the show. We're wrapping up with Bill Hockstedler. Anybody tell you look like Rush Limbaugh?
I get that all the time.
Seriously?
Actually, I do.
Which is a big compliment.
Even though he's passed over a year ago, I still get that, and they know I'm not Rush Limbaugh, but they do remember that I look like him.
Yeah,
and I used to
That's
get
a
it
big compliment.
when I'm in the airport and I'm wearing a suit or something. I get it all the time. I went to a rally one time where he was supposed to be, and people thought I was him instead of the actual him. So I could have been a stunt double probably.
I like that. I like that. How would you grade and why? How would you grade the U.S. Senate today? What's going on in our government?
You know,
A lot of things.
with all the things that are going on both sides, and the way the filibuster's being used and things of that nature, and the fact that some things just aren't getting done that need to be done, I don't want to give anybody an F, but I mean, golly, D- maybe. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I'm not saying that the Democrats are wrong either. We've just got to get more things done, and we've taken too long to do things. Things that are going internationally. I think things should have been done differently with Ukraine. I think we have things that are facing us with China that we're not ready and prepared for. I think we got big problems coming down the pike, and we have to have smarter, more responsible people in that position.
Yeah, there is no question about it. This midterm, everybody's talking about, is going to be super, super important. Which brings me to my question to you. Say, let's keep it to Clark County. Within Clark County, the Republican Party. Why do you think it's so fractured? Because a lot of people really see it as being fractured.
Right.
What would you do to have them be more cohesive?
Well, if you're talking about party leadership, I think that we need to look at who we have as our party leaders, whether it's county or state, and figure out if they've been doing the right job for the majority of the people. When's the last time that we've had a major race for Republicans that actually have won in the state? It's what, 10, 11, 12, going on 12 years?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that, there's some problems. And I'm not trying to imply any improprieties, but look at you just follow the money, follow the results. And in business, if this had been a corporation, there would have been changes done years ago. So if you look at it as running it like a business and not a political machine, we could have made changes. And sometimes the people that are able to make the changes are the least likely to implement the changes because they could affect them as well.
Right.
I don't know how more clearly I can say that, but
no, you said that very clearly. Why don't people see that though, Bill? And certainly they hear things, they see things, people tell them things. Why don't they want to make changes?
I can tell you this: that if you look at special interest and you look at the candidates that are leading as far as the fundraising and the money and the way they got the money, people talk about election integrity or voter integrity. Let's talk about candidate integrity. And if you look at candidates that are running against me in this race, and they're making millions of dollars in their profession, some of it maybe even out of state. Why would they be running for a job that pays $180,000 a year? Are there special interest things going on? Is there side deals coming on? Do they see an opportunity to gain more money for the types of votes that they might be giving forward? Who do they owe their allegiance to? What PACs have contributed to them? What corporations have contributed to them that now they feel obligated to appease at some point when and we all know this game. We know it. I'm a straight shooter. That's my moniker under my branding. And if you look at my picture on my website, I'm a straight shooter. And it goes back to things like, be honest and kind, be a good neighbor and a friend, be patriotic without regard to personal sacrifice and things like that. Those are the things that made America great up to the point that we had our greatness.
Right.
They're not Republican values. They're not Democrat values. They're American values. And we need to make sure that our candidates are actually beholden to that type of attitude. It's not what's in it for them that matters.
Yeah.
It's what's in it for the people of Nevada that they represent.
Yeah, you go obviously to a lot of events. You appear at a lot of events. You do meet and greets, town halls, so on and so forth. And again, not bad mouthing your people that are running against you, but what disturbs you about what they say?
Well, I'd say I'm disturbed by a small percentage. We call them the Sahara 200. It's the same 200 people that show up for all the different events, the different clubs and things like that. And even a year ago, they made a decision to make sure that myself and some of the lesser-known candidates are shut out of their meetings, or unless we pay to go in, shut out of their speaking engagements and things like that. Then we couldn't even get a debate. Adam Laxalt won't debate me on stage. He said he would, in front of people at a particular hotel here, in public. He said he would, and then he doesn't do it, and he just says, I'm not going to debate. And there's other candidates he won't debate. He doesn't want to show. He's got more to lose than he has to gain by doing that. I can clean his clock on the debate stage. I hate to say that on live TV, but I can clean his clock. And the same thing for my other opponent, Sam Brown. I can clean his clock. And they have nothing to gain by being on stage with me. I look like, I sound like, and I am like the elder statesman that Nevada needs. We need a strong voice in Nevada. And regardless of the fact that I've never run in politics before, and they have, I think I have a distinct advantage.
Yeah. It's because I think there's a lot of forms of communication amongst candidates, and I think debating each other has got to be clearly one of the strongest. And I think when that's denied, it's a disservice.
That's right. So our media outlets, our TV stations have got these thresholds, these minimum requirements that they think they need to have. Like you have to be polling a certain way, and you have to be raising a certain amount of money, and all these other different things. And it really is a disservice to the voters. If the voters could know that I am the type of person that I'm portraying myself on your show, they might say, that guy could probably do a pretty good job. Why can't he be on the debate too? Yeah. Even if he didn't raise $3 million or even $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a disservice. And then by the folks that don't want to debate me because I would be a detriment to their campaign, it's really a disservice to the voters.
Yeah.
It really is. They're hiding.
I agree 100%. They're hiding. That's a good way to put it. All right, we're going to step away, take our last real short, quick break. We come back, we'll talk to Bill about what he's got for the future with fundraising and social media and ground game, and how you could help him contribute to his campaign vis-a-vis his website and all of that other good stuff. So we'll be right back right after this.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
Listen to that. Our studio audience is going crazy over Bill. We're just a great show. Anyway, tell us about your campaign. How could people that are viewing us right now help you out? Want you to give out your website, what you plan as far as events, any grassroots things. You got people knocking on doors, whatever. Tell them how they could help out.
Sure, and I don't want to use the word grassroots campaign. That sounds a little hokey to me. I don't want it to come off as that way. We are running a campaign as best we can with the limited funds that we have. I did not put a lot of emphasis on fundraising. So I've had some contributors, some max contributors, and a few smaller donors, and I've done some of the money myself.
Okay.
And so we're using that as prudently as we can. And I want this to be a campaign where people actually can say, wow, this guy actually won that position, like the truck driver in was it Pennsylvania, New Jersey, for the Senate seat. The guy won on $5,000 or $10,000.
Right.
Why can't I win this on $50,000 or $60,000? Instead of millions. And that becomes a news story in and of itself.
Totally.
So if anybody's on board with that, let's make it happen. Remember, I'm third down on the ballot. So alphabetically, if you look at the Senate ballot, You got it, alphabetical order by last name. I'm number 3 on there, the longest name on the ballot, Bill Hockstedler. It says William Bill Hockstedler. And I want people to recognize that and remember that, because name recognition is everything.
Totally.
And I don't have a ton of signs out there. I don't believe in putting signs up. First of all, they're very expensive, and to me it looks trashy. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say anything that the other candidates and all the other races, school board and everything else. But you drive through an intersection, and I'm pretty politically astute, and I know a lot of names, and I drive through, and I look, and there's 70 signs on each side of the road, and then I'm thinking, I don't remember a single sign that I saw. I don't remember any of them.
And you can't see half of them.
You can't see half of them.
Covered with other signs.
And covered with other signs.
Yeah.
It just looks trashy.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring back politics to what it really should be, and it's about the people, and make sure that people are smart enough to investigate who I am. They can go to my website, which is victory2022.org. Okay. And the reason I say that, Dennis, is I don't put my name on it. It's not about me and saying, Hockstedler for Senate.org or .com. It's about a victory for all of us in this election year 2022. So victory2022.org, not .com.
Okay.
And that way people can find me. They can look me up. They can look at anything about me. A lot of my videos and audios from other radio shows and things that are on the front page. Okay. And yours will be on there as well. And they can look at that and see who Bill Hockstedler really is.
Okay. Do you have any planned events coming up? Some meet and greets?
I do have some.
Getting out, walking the neighborhoods and shaking hands and stuff?
I'm not doing a lot of walking, but I'm actually meeting people at meet and greets. We have a meet and greet in Prompt tomorrow night after the Golf Classic, the Republican Golf Classics in the morning. We have a meet and greet in the afternoon, and we have another meet and greet on Saturday. In early June, there's a meet and greet down in Jean, which is south of town.
Right.
And then I'll be doing that one. And there's just a bunch of small ones that I'm going to be doing. Just to meet the people and make sure that they know who I am. The longer we go into this, the less opportunities there are to get that vote. People are already using the paper ballots. They're getting ready to mail those in.
Early voting.
And I've run into people. I had to go to the DMV the other day, and I ran into a gentleman that he said, "Oh, we already voted for you." I said, "Great, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that." But you never know who's not voting for you. So the less opportunities that we have, the closer we get into the 14th. 10 days of early voting start on the 28th. And here's the thing the other people need to know. People that are nonpartisans can actually go into on site to vote with their driver's license, their ID card. This is where a chance to show your ID. We want people to show their IDs, right? If you want to vote in the Republican primary and not be disenfranchised in November by saying, "Who are these guys?" You can actually, if you're a nonpartisan watching the show, you can go down and vote a Republican ballot with showing your driver's license, and then switch back to being a nonpartisan, and vote however you want to vote in the general election. At least you know you had a voice on who you put on that ballot.
Now that is a very, very good point.
People don't realize that.
And just for clarification, do you need a clear majority to move on, so to speak, after the primary?
It's just a simple majority. It's not a 50% or anything. It's not going to be a runoff.
Simple majority.
It's not going to be a runoff. So there's 8 candidates on the ballot. There's 4 or 5 that are considered actively campaigning and doing a lot. And, if you look at the fact that we might have a voter turnout of maybe 150 to 200,000 people, then you just divide that and figure out, well, how many votes do I really need to meet? Now, obviously, if somebody reaches far ahead, then, that's going to be a bigger hurdle.
Right.
But if you divide that vote count by 5 people, it's not going to take a ton of votes. You could easily win this with 30 or 40,000 votes.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
If somebody gets 90,000 votes or 100,000 votes, then nobody else is going to catch up to that.
Correct.
So.
All right, so listen, victory2022.org. Go on it, check him out, donate if you'd like. Like I keep saying, these campaigns are expensive and you need money. So anyway, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck and play good tomorrow.
Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate that.
I expect you to something in the low 70s maybe out there.
We'll see if the media can come out and cover it.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. For Bill, I'm Dennis Silvers. Remember, keep it in the short stuff. We'll be right back. Same place, same time next week. So long, everybody.